Hello there and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And today I want to talk about quite an important topic for you, and that is the faction locks. What the hell is that? Yeah, probably if you have just started the game you will wonder what's that? But it is an important topic and I just want to guide you through a little bit in this video, and I will show you some things you have to keep in mind to do that, and some things you shouldn't do. But first of all, you already know what's factions. I made the video on it. On the top left of the screen you see ships, officers, command and factions. And at the factions you have the three main factions you have early in the game. That's Federation, Klingon and Romulan. You have to gain reputation with those factions to get certain rewards, to be able to purchase stuff in their stores. And I talked about this a little bit in my general faction video already. And if you want to be able to get better ships from those factions, for example, to get certain rewards from those factions, you must get a higher reputation. But the problem is that gaining reputation in one of the three factions reduces usually the reputation in the other factions. And so that you can not only choose one faction and play with that the whole time, Scopely introduced faction locks. First of all, there is a lock to the bottom, so if you lose reputation with one of those factions, you never go below 2 million minus. So it can never be worse than 2 million minus. That's the first good news about this. So whenever you have to get out of there again, it's just the 2 million. It will never be worse. But there are also locks in the other direction. When you reach 10 million reputation, which for people starting this game sounds insane, but believe me, in time it will not sound that insane anymore. If you reach 10 million, you never drop below those 10 million again. And that's the good news. So that is when you can start working on the other factions as well. Bring one faction to 10 million, and that can never be lower. And then you can start with the next. But that's why I give advice on those to always concentrate on one faction. In my next video, we'll talk about the triple lock and what to do then. But to get the first lock, so that means one faction locked, you have to do missions of that faction, and you have to, in the best case, hunt hostiles from their arch enemy. If you do Klingons, for example, you have to hunt Romulans. You can see it when you click on some hostiles here. Then you can have a look when you click at rewards, how much reputation you get and you lose. You see you get a 91 Federation reputation, but you get 182 Klingon reputation. So the Romulans are, so to speak, the arch enemies of the Klingons. So if you want to bring up the Klingons, always try to do it with Romulan hostiles because it's the easiest. And you see that at the same time you lose 342 Romulan reputation. I know that a lot of people are out there who advise to do two factions at the same time. I tried both ways. I said it in my faction video already. I tried double faction and I tried single faction. And when I did single faction, I reached the triple lock earlier. So that means I locked all three much earlier than the time when I did a double faction approach, because it's much harder to do that. But to get your lock, as I said, you have to hunt hostiles. It's always best to hunt traders. I don't have some here, but I can go somewhere else. Just take Romulus as an example. There you have traders. You will not do them in the beginning, but they bring, for example, 9,000 reputation here, but you lose 35,000. So it's not that easy to do double. But if you want to get to the faction lock, which is 10 million, and that's why you see at the moment, it's not the first time I played, but on this server, I have the Federation on 10 million here. You see that it's a bit higher because I attacked some Romulans today, but it can never fall under it. And no matter how much daily events I do and whatever, it can never fall under those 10 millions. And there's a second lock, and that is 1 billion. And now you say he completely got crazy. But it's not as hard as it sounds, because when you get higher and higher, and with the Klingons now I'm at almost 400 million reputation. That's not that far from the billion. When we talk about, I started at 10 million here as well. You get more and more reputation. I have missions where I get almost a million reputation for one mission. I get a million reputation from just one of my dailies. I get a million or 1.1 million reputation at the moment for my daily event for the Klingons. So it's not that hard to do. But I have to work until 1 billion again to have a lock. So whenever I attack a Klingon hostile now, or do a mission from another faction, I would lose reputation. And of course, I want to get to glorified soon to get the next fun ship. And that's the point. You see, this is my highest at the moment. And so you see that I'm very close to getting Corina blueprints. And that's what I meant with getting higher in a faction. You get nicer stuff that you can get as rewards, and you can buy nicer stuff like blueprints. Yeah, I already got the Katinga. I could buy them here. Yeah, I got some more blueprints from a mission, but I don't need them anymore. And the next one is the Corina, and that's why you're going higher. But my advice is really target, from the beginning of the game, target one faction to bring it to the 10 million lock. And when you finish that one, take the next. That is my advice for you. And only do the missions for this one faction. Don't do the missions for the other factions until you do this faction. Don't claim the dailies for another faction if you could at a certain moment. Don't do the daily events if you still can for another faction. Concentrate on one and bring it to this 10 million lock. Then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And as I said, tomorrow I will talk about the triple lock and some, let's say, strategy to get you to the triple lock and to how to proceed after you have the triple 10 million lock. So I split that up because I don't want the videos to be too long, because you often just want to have some quick advice, and that's why I'm splitting those topics with the locks a bit, so that you don't need a lot of time to get the grasp of the first important ones. Now you know what to do to get to the 10 million and what those locks are, and that's enough for today. But if you already want to know something else, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.